Hello everyone, my name is Christy and my channel is all about money and mindset and the intentional focus on those two things, money and mindset, to increase joy and happiness in our lives and to decrease stress. And today I wanted to talk about something that I think a lot of people who either are just starting out budgeting or who have kind of gotten into the rhythm of budgeting but want to take things to the next level, and that is creating sinking funds. So I want to talk about what sinking funds are, how we start and create them, and then kind of give you some insight into my categories so you can see what I do with sinking funds. I want to preface all of this by saying, I'm not a budgeting expert by any means. I'm learning along with all of you, but maybe something that I share with you might be helpful. I always love to see everybody's sinking fund categories, and that's really actually helped me identify some categories that I forgot when I initially started my sinking funds. So maybe sharing some information about mine will be helpful for you. Sinking funds are a very personal type of thing. So you'll see people talk about having a lot of different sinking funds, which I think I have 14 or 15 different sinking fund categories, and that's actually increased since I started doing them in December of 2020. But some people just have 5 or 6 categories, and they might be for some really big spend type items. There's no right or wrong answer to how many sinking funds you have and how much money you put into them, other than this is money that you are setting aside very intentionally on a regular basis, be it from your regular paycheck, side hustles, things that you sell around the house, garage sales, whatever it might be. But you're very intentionally giving that money a job that's going to be a job in the future. So it's not money that you're going to be spending right now, usually, but it's money that you're kind of earmarking for something else down the road. I think one really common category, and if you have no other categories, it would be a holiday category. So I myself celebrate Christmas every year, and I can tell you that as an adult, Christmas has become my least favorite holiday. I know, usually it's everybody's favorite holiday. My actual favorite is Halloween, but that's another story. But one of the reasons that I didn't enjoy Christmas every year is because of all of the financial stress that came around Christmas. Now, I've talked about this in another video that I am a recovering spender. So I definitely have always struggled with the whole concept of saving and budgeting and being smart about my money. And I feel like it's better late than never that I'm doing this now in my mid-40s. But so being a recovering spender, I would approach the holiday season and we'd hit Thanksgiving and Black Friday comes up and everybody rushes out to get all of these things on sale for starting, some people have already started their Christmas shopping at that point in time. I usually always did all of my shopping in between Thanksgiving and sometimes right before Christmas. And that was because I didn't have a plan for my money, and that meant that in this very short condensed amount of time I was usually spending a whole lot of money that I didn't have. So that also equated to usually me racking up credit card debt because I was trying to keep up with everybody else, right? You need the best toys. You need this, fancy thing for your spouse or significant other. You get into this mindset. It's a really insidious mindset that's very materialistic. Like your loved one isn't going to love you anymore or think that you love them if you don't get them this really expensive thing. It's like, oh no. Ironically, this past year, my son's big gift, I actually bought, it was a used Paw Patrol tower with all of the figures off of Facebook Marketplace for a great deal. And he loved it. It was his favorite gift. So definitely I've had a mind shift around gift giving. Nonetheless, Christmas was always a really stressful time of year. And I have started a sinking fund for my Christmas spending. And that alone, every time I put money in that envelope, I feel this sense of calm and relief and joy, really, that I know when I get to the point where I'm ready to start doing my Christmas shopping, I pretty much, I'm going to already have the money there. I have this money set aside. And that's the whole reason behind sinking funds. Like I said, there are dollars that you take from money that you have right now and you earmark it and you give it a future job. And those categories can be very specific to what's going on in your life, what you know is going to be coming up in your life. Now, they may be one-time expenses. So for example, every year here in the US, I know that I need to renew my car license and tabs. So I have an envelope that is specific to that bill that I started to fund in December. And so I'm going to have a one-time, I'm going to end up pulling all the money out of that envelope and then start stuffing it again for next year. I have other categories though, like clothing, that I put money aside every paycheck into that envelope. And as I go throughout the year and I am buying things, clothes for my son, clothes for myself, I'm taking money out of that envelope. So it might be all of the money sometimes, or it might be just a portion of it. But nonetheless, that's more of what I consider an ongoing sinking fund. And you can have both. I'd say, take a look at your budget. Look at how much money you have extra or how much you can squeeze out of your budget to have a little bit of extra money. And that will help you decide how many sinking funds you really want to start with. And then you can always add or subtract later. That was another lesson learned, I'd say, just from the last 6 months of doing this, is that I didn't get the numbers right. I don't think that I've gotten any of the numbers perfect on any of my sinking funds so far, because I've got 6 months of data to reflect back on. There were definitely some categories I already know I've underfunded. I've talked about that a lot in my cash stuffing side hustle videos, but I'm learning. And what I know is at the end of this year, because I keep a tracker for all of my sinking funds, so I see all the money coming in and I see what I'm spending it on going back out, next year in 2022, I'm going to be really prescriptive and much better at how much money I have to set aside for each one of these sinking funds, because I'll have a year's worth of data to be able to compare and look at. So this is kind of a trial year for me. And so don't think that it needs to be perfect right out of the gate. You're going to tweak these, you're going to modify it, you're going to change it, and that is all okay. That's the other thing that I've learned about budgeting so far, is that you never have it exactly perfect, but doing something is absolutely better than doing nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you my numbers and my categories for my sinking funds. And so let's flip this around and take a look. Okay, so this is a resource that I got from the Budget Mom. You've seen this in some of my other videos. I definitely am a big fan of the Budget Mom and her method of budgeting. And so this is just a resource that gave, a high level overview of my sinking funds tracker. So the first thing I did was I came up with my different categories. And you can see I have Christmas, I have my car registration and tabs, I have an extra week. And what this is 4 times a year, there's an extra Monday in a month, and that means that I have an extra week of daycare that I need to spend. And let me tell you, other than Christmas, this was another line item that definitely was very stressful for me, because having to come up with an extra $334 in my budget on those months was pretty stressful. And so what I decided to do was create a sinking fund for that extra week of daycare. I have gifts, travel, hair and beauty. So that's coloring my hair. That is getting my hair cut. This is also for my son. A car fund, giving, which giving is, I like to sponsor a family for the holidays. It's just something that I like to do to be able to feel like I'm giving back, because I feel like I'm very fortunate in my life. And so being able to help a family around the holidays is something that I definitely wanted to continue to do. So I have a giving category there. That's also for donations and things like that also happen throughout the year. I have a line item for my birthday. Okay, so maybe not everybody would do a sinking fund for their birthday. But for me, as a single mom, I know that from a self-care perspective and just feeling really good on my day, like I'm responsible for that. And so this is just a way for me to, have a way. I can go out for dinner with friends. I can buy myself a nice little gift, things like that. So I have a sinking fund for my birthday. This is a clothing line item. This is for both me and my son. Author expenses, which I've talked about in my my cash stuffing videos. I'm planning to start publishing books for one of my side hustles again later this year. And so it's not an active expense that I have right now, but I wanted to start putting some money aside for that. And then also for my house. So you can see I have some goal amounts here. And what I did so this was again in December of 2020, I just kind of went back and thought about how much money I thought that I would like to budget and spend for these different categories. So I was thinking about everyone that I needed to buy a Christmas gift for, what my budget would be for that, decorations and things like that. So that's how I came up with this number. My car registration, that is a number that I do know. The extra week, I know how much daycare costs, so I knew that. Gifts was something that, I was trying to, again, think about who I needed to buy gifts for throughout the year, friends and family, kind of put an estimate around that. Travel, I don't have a certain goal amount there because I didn't have any travel plans when I initially created this budget. We still had everything with COVID definitely going on, but I like to travel, so any money that I can put aside for that is great. Hair and beauty, again, just kind of an estimate of getting my hair cut and colored once a quarter and then getting haircuts for my son. My car is kind of the same thing as travel. I currently have a lease on my car, so and all of my maintenance, my regular maintenance is covered under my lease. But this was just a fund that my lease ends in August of 2022, having some money set aside for whatever my next car is going to be. Giving, now I said this could be donations, it's sponsoring a family at the holidays, just kind of put a number around that. My birthday, again, kind of a guesstimate around that. Clothing was an estimate, author expenses, and house, that's just an ongoing expense. So you can see I have here if there is a specific due date. So November, I wanted to have this fully funded by November. My car registration, I needed to have that fully funded by July. I have the months that I'm going to be, that I have to pay that extra week of daycare. Some ongoing sinking funds. My birthday's in November, and then you can see it's all of the rest of these. So then months to save, if these do have specific due dates, you just take that number divided by that number, and then you know how much you need to save every month in order to fully fund that specific number by your due date. And with these that are ongoing, I just divided these by 12, and that's kind of how I got these numbers. So I have a per month number here. You can see I just skipped right over this particular column because I had no money saved in December of 2020 for any of these. This was a whole brand new thing for me. I have my per month, and then I divided that into my paycheck because I do get paid twice a month. So that's how I figured out how much per paycheck I needed to stuff in these envelopes with every paycheck. Now, what I've found as I've gone through, one modification that I've made is just to keep things easy from a cash perspective, I've actually rounded all of these up. So $38, I've just rounded that up. Car registration, I've just rounded that up to 30. It made the math so much easier as I've gone along here. I have added one category here that I haven't put on here. It is for lawn care. It's going to be another one where I don't have necessarily a certain goal amount set, and it's going to be something that's ongoing, but at least this was a way to start. So again, as I mentioned, just starting somewhere and doing something is absolutely better than doing nothing. I continue to learn more about these as I go along, and I'm tweaking and modifying, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. So just to show you progress against some of these, I thought that I would also share with you how much money I currently have in all of my sinking funds. And I haven't looked at this from a kind of holistic perspective for a while. Let's see how I'm doing progress-wise against my sinking funds. So this is a little cash envelope system that I got off of Amazon. It's called Clever Fox. I will link to that in the description below. I do have a couple of other envelopes here that are not sinking funds. You can see I created one for lawn care. This was a free resource from the Budget Mom again. by subscribing to her email newsletter. She sends out different freebies every Friday as part of that. And so usually once a month, every 6 weeks or something like that, she sends out new envelopes. So if you want to switch out your envelopes on a regular basis, you could absolutely do that. So this was my newly created one for lawn care. And this is just a regular piece of paper that I cut the design out. I taped it together. And then there were trackers that she included too. Not my money. There were trackers too. So just free little resources that are kind of handy so you don't have to spend any extra money keeping track of all your sinking funds. So, okay, let's take a look at these. And I will let you guys know where I have gone off track or where I have underfunded, which is quite a few of these. So, okay, Christmas. I've already talked about the fact that this was a really exciting category for me to start saving money. And if you do nothing else, a holiday category I think is a great place to start. So I had a goal amount of $816. And as of today, I have $597. Oh my gosh. I have been adding extra money to this from my side hustle because I realized a couple months into the year that I am probably going to be traveling for Christmas, going to my brother's house in Wisconsin, and that means gas and a hotel stay. So I did not account for that in my Christmas budget when I was setting my goal. So I have been putting extra money here in my Christmas sinking fund. Underfunded. Giving, I had $320 here that I was putting, and then I am at $108 so far. So let's see, giving, yep, $14, $15 per paycheck. So I am, I should be right on track for this. I have already taken out a little bit. You can see that's why I'm a little bit lower than I was thinking. I made a donation to my company's team members in India with the recent effects of the pandemic. I did a card and things here, so I've already taken a couple of things out of here. That's why this is a little bit lower than I was expecting, but this should still be fine and on track. My car registration, so my tabs, which are going to be due, I should be getting that bill this month. I'm at $354. My goal was $345. So this one currently is fully funded. Yay, that's great. So I was setting aside $30 per paycheck, but I was setting aside more than I needed to because I just started the sinking fund in December. So I only had 6 months to save. Now that I'm going to be able to stuff this for next year, I'm able to take this down by half, which that means I get to put $15 somewhere else for my extra week. This one, I currently have $113 in, but you can see I've already paid March, and then May was the last time that I took money out of this. So for 2 of the 4 extra weeks so far, I had those fully funded out of this envelope. Such a game changer when it came to my budget. Gifts. Oh boy. I talk about this envelope a lot in my cash stuffing videos for my side hustle because $550, I probably grossly underestimated this particular category, I would say, by a lot. I have $90 in there right now, but you can see I've already had transactions going across a lot of different places. Things like, so that was a planned expense. That was a planned expense. This one was not. That one was not. That one was not. Oh, no, that one was. That one was Mother's Day. Yep. Let's see. That one was not. That one was not. So I've had a lot of, I've been taking money out of this for things like teacher appreciation gifts and friends' birthdays that have popped up. I've had a couple of friends that, while I may have set aside some money for their birthday, ended up overspending because we went out to, a nicer restaurant than I was planning, things like that. But I definitely underestimated my gifts sinking fund. So when I go back at the end of this year and I reassess my goal for gifts, I'm going to use my tracker so I am a lot more accurate next year. Travel, right now I have $200 in my travel. But one thing that I should mention about this one, you can see I don't have a goal for this, a goal amount for this particular sinking fund. It's just an ongoing sinking fund for when I do start traveling again. And because of that, at the end of March when I was moving, I needed some extra money for moving. And so there are some of these envelopes that have these kind of no goal amounts that I actually took the money that was in here that I had been setting aside, and I used it to help compensate for some of those moving expenses. So that is what happened with my travel. Hair and Beauty currently has nothing in it because I just got my hair done. This one is probably reasonably on track, but we will see at the end of the year how I did with that one. My car, I currently have $185 here. I had the same thing where I had $300 in here at the end of March. And what I did is I took that out, also used that for helping to compensate with some of my moving expenses. Clothing. So I have $60 in here right now, and you can see I've had some subtractions throughout the year. I have a 4-year-old toddler. He is growing, changing seasons, changing clothes. I like to buy something new for myself every now and then, so I probably will need to look at this this particular envelope as well because I think I underfunded it. My birthday, I know I've got $220 in here. I'm right on track with this because I have not taken out anything because my birthday is in November. My author expenses, so I had a goal amount of $240. I'm at $177 right now, and that's because I take extra money from my side hustle income, and I always stuff this envelope in addition to stuffing it for my regular paycheck. So I should have more money than I need, or what I was targeting at least. This should be fully funded soon, which is cool. Then my house, another busy envelope. I have $50 in here right now, but you can see this has been another busy envelope. I had gotten up to $540 in March, and then right before I sold my townhouse, I had to buy a new washer. And that was right before I was closing on my new house too. March was a stressful month financially, but I did have some of my sinking funds to help cover that, which was great. And then my last one, my most newly added one, is lawn care. This is going to be another one where I don't have a certain goal amount, where I'm just going to be putting money in this on an ongoing basis, hopefully $50 per paycheck. And you can see right now I have $90 here. But as I've been putting money in here, I've definitely had some things that have been coming out for lawn care. So definitely an important category though that I'm glad I'm starting to put some money aside for. So there you go, guys. Those are all of my sinking fund categories and my current progress against those with all of my sinking funds. If you have any questions, please be sure to leave those in the comments below. If you like this video and if you like this video in general, please click the like button. And if you want to see all of the videos that I do publish to my channel, please be sure to click the subscribe button as well. And so until next time, guys, have a great one. Bye.